Full Metal Jackie. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Finally, I get to talk to you in person, sort of.
Yes, and I appreciate all that you do with tweeting and promoting for Loudwire Night, so thank you so much.
Oh, no, please. It's my pleasure. I love listening to you guys, and I love sharing with everybody else whatever you guys are up to that day.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Okay, so you've been involved in radio and music for so long, and to tell your story, we pretty much are going to be here all day. So for the past year or so, we've been listening to Loudwire Night. I think it's about time where we get to know who's that hot chick Full Metal Jackie we listen to. So pretty much in like 10 sentences or less, sum up your life from high school to now. You know, like who are you, where were you born, etc. All right, go.
Wow. Okay, that's 10 sentences or less. All right, here we go. I was born in New York, raised in New Jersey, grew up in central New Jersey. None of those folks from the Jersey Shore were my people, I can tell you that. But I grew up listening to this heavy metal radio station called WSOU, which was Seton Hall's pirate radio station. It was the college station. That's where I sort of discovered metal. I have an older sister who helped me also to discover metal. And, you know, I grew up listening to that station. And, you know, when I ended up in my college years, I had the opportunity to go to Seton Hall, and I did. And I ended up on the radio there, and it sort of furthered my love for metal. And sort of that's where my love of radio began. And once I graduated from Seton Hall, I was like, I want to continue pursuing radio. I love it. I feel like it's in my blood. And I, you know, started working for other radio stations. I worked at, you know, a radio station in South Jersey called WHTG, which Matt Pinfield, who's my hero, was the program director of way back in the day. And then I worked at a mainstream rock station in northern New Jersey. Then I decided one day I want to move to Los Angeles because cold is for suckers, and moved out to Los Angeles, and there wasn't really a rock station. One day, this one radio station started called Indie 103.1, and it was insane. They had Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols doing middays. Henry Rollins was doing a show one night a week. Wow. Dave Navarro was doing a show on the weekends. Rob Zombie was doing a show. And I remember sitting in my car hearing the station, touching the radio, going, that's the station I'm going to work for here in L.A.
Nice.
And I ended up pitching a metal show to the program director at the time, and I ended up doing a show till the station, you know, as long as the station was on the air. And then I started, you know, I had an opportunity to syndicate the show, which I did. So I was syndicating a Full Metal Jackie radio show, a metal show, which is how I sort of, you know, got my start in radio. And that opportunity led to being able to co-host Loudwire Nights. In addition to doing radio, in living in Los Angeles, I was working for an artist management company called The Firm, which was like the biggest management company, you know, in the world, and worked with some acts like Korn, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, Static X, a lot of bands, you know, in their heyday back in that time. And it was during my time at The Firm that I discovered Five Finger Death Punch.
Wow, nice. Quite an interesting life, I'll tell you that.
And a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Yeah, why not? Okay, so I've interviewed, you know, musicians that are musicians, authors that are authors, filmmakers that are filmmakers. I mean, I would love to one day have the opportunity to interview Rob Zombie and or Dave Grohl, because they pretty much do everything. I mean, I think everything except landscaping. I mean, you have been a radio host, a show host, a connoisseur of metal. You work with a record label. You manage some bands. You've written a book. And you now co-host a nationally syndicated radio show. So when it comes to my desire to interview a person of many talents, yeah, you're pretty much on my top list. Can you tell me what's good or bad about all of the different types of roles that you play? I mean, pretty much what I think everyone else wants to know is, how the hell do you do it? How do you manage to have time for all that you do?
That's a very good question. I get asked that all the time. Pretty much, I guess, I've given up on sleep. I guess I sort of just decided that I'll sleep when I'm dead. And it's a juggling act, you know. Good thing is I love all the things that I get to do. So, yes, you know, they are my jobs, but I love them. And, you know, it's just about figuring out balance and yeah, pretty much juggling a million and one things. But I love it.
Yeah, you know, sleep is overrated.
It is. Sleep is for sissies.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so in all the things that you do, how hard was it to be taken seriously as a woman? I mean, how did you manage to get the respect that you get in this male-dominant world? Because there aren't many women in your shoes. Men there are, but there's not that many Jackies.
Well, there's only one Jackie. No, just kidding.
Damn right.
I don't really think about it too often, but I guess, we'd be lying if we said that there wasn't, that whole thing didn't exist about, men being treated differently than women. Something that a woman would say, a man would call it, oh, you're being emotional, right? If a woman disagrees with something a man says, but if a man disagrees, it's like, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that happens all the time. BS, I don't really think about it too much. But, it's obviously I would be lying to ignore it. But I don't really care about that stuff too much. I'm an aggressive chick. I don't take shit from nobody. And, just work hard, and that's all that you can do. That kind of thing will always exist, I guess, but I don't really think about it too much in my daily life.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no time for that stuff. You got better things to worry about.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's very difficult with everyone that you've worked with, for you to pick a favorite, but I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, one band that you literally gave up everything for, and I'm generalizing, bought food for, paid their rent, replaced their flat tires on their trailers, etc., was Five Finger Death Punch. Now, you do great with what you do. They're kicking ass with what they do. But many years ago, they were a small band. Why did you believe in them so much? I mean, we see the talent, the drive. We see where they're headed. You could have passed on them. But what made you do everything you did for them?
I feel like when something happens in your life or you discover something that you feel so strongly about, you can't exactly describe why, but you just have a feeling and you know. And that's kind of what happened when I first heard Five Finger Death Punch's music. And I brought them to the company that I was working for at the time, and I said, this band is going to be huge. And it's not like I would do that very often because, you work in radio. I work in radio. I work in management and for a label. We all get stuff sent to us all the time, and I'm not like the boy who cried wolf. I wasn't saying that often, but this band came along, and I listened to the music. I went and saw them live, and I just knew. I can't explain why, but I just had, like I said, that feeling, and I was willing to do whatever to have myself be heard and demonstrate, like, this band is going to happen, and if we don't do something, we're going to be very sorry.
Well, and that was a great decision right there because those guys are incredible. I mean, they've played our Balloon Fest. I've seen them live, and they're incredible. Their talent is just amazing.
Yeah, they've definitely, one of the biggest rock bands to break in, like, the last, 9 years or so. And things just keep getting bigger and bigger for them, and, happy to be involved, and I still love the band and feel the same way that I do as when I first discovered them, and great, amazing things are happening for the band.
Oh, no, definitely. Okay, last one. You do interviews all the time, but when they get done on you, what is the one thing you don't like to talk about? I mean, what do you not like being asked?
I got to tell you, I will talk about whatever. There's nothing really that I'm like, don't ask me that, or I don't want to talk about that. You can ask Tony Labrie. We talk about anything, so I'm totally cool with being asked anything.
Well, that's good to know, so everybody out there knows. When you bump into her, ask her anything you want. Okay, so thank you so much for taking this time to chat with me.
Of course, and thank you. Thank you for all that you do. I really appreciate everything that you do to promote the show, and thanks for asking to do this interview.
Oh, no, anytime. So anything else you want to add to the El Paso listeners here?
I love being on KLAQ, and I'm looking forward to many more great years to come. So thank you for all the kind words and cool support, and looking forward to seeing you guys again very soon.
Planes do come by here every now and then.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jackie. This was really, really cool.
Cool.